The views and opinions expressed in the Distracted Librarians podcast do not necessarily reflect those of Bloomfield Township Public Library, Bloomfield Community Television, the Birmingham Area Cable Board, or its producers or production staff.
Hello and welcome. We're the Distracted Librarians, your friendly neighborhood bookworms who can't resist the siren call of movies, video games, music, and everything else in the pop culture universe.
Think of this podcast as a digital campfire where we share our latest obsessions, analyze the hidden depths of our favorite distractions, and maybe rediscover the joy of reading in between.
So, if you're a fellow media junkie, a book lover, or someone looking for a fun, engaging escape from your daily grind, you've come to the right place.
Sit back, relax, and prepare to get delightfully distracted with us.
Hey everybody, today we are going to be talking about horror. But first of all, I'm Nicole.
I'm Emily.
And I'm Killian.
And we are missing Drew today.
We are missing Drew today. We miss you, Drew.
He will be back, not to worry. He cannot join us today, so we proceed on without him in our conversation about horror, everything.
And spooky, Halloween-y, October-y things.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, what makes horror scary?
I think, and that's the thing, is I'm not usually one who's typically like, oh my gosh, I love horror as a genre. But the psychology of it fascinates me. Like the things, the way different people are scared of different things, or different people like being scared while others don't, is always really interesting to me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I find that things that scare me now are different than things that scared me when I was a younger person,
Oh, for
right?
sure.
Because, you know, our lives change and our priorities and different things change. So it was like, of course, once I had kids, now if it's something that is affecting a child, then all of a sudden I'm just like completely like my heart is ripped out and tossed on the floor and I'm just like, not that.
Yeah.
So that's what scares me now.
Yeah, my brother is a teacher. He's an elementary school teacher, and we watch a lot of horror movies together. But along that same line, we have guide rules for like things that we watch, things that we don't watch. Kids are like a no. If there's a scary thing happening specifically to kids or about kids, it's just like nope, we skip that.
Yeah,
it's the same kind of deal.
Yeah, but sometimes you just don't know, and then you have to be.
Yeah, and
you just have to do it anyway.
Yeah,
You're jump scared by a different fear.
Yes, yeah, that's true.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, and that's something too. Like a lot of people really love the feeling of being jump scared, and then some people really don't.
Yeah,
and that's always like I know so many people who are really into. Oh yeah, I love things like things popping out at you, things like that. I'm like, I like breathing, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on what the jump scare is, because depending on the film or whatever, the game or whatever it is, like sometimes there's like, it's a loud sound, and that's a big part of the jump scare.
Yeah.
Where sometimes it's just a visual thing, and that I think can make a big difference. Like, if it's a loud sound, that's going to scare me more than the actual visual of the thing coming at me.
And see, I think I'm different. I say I don't like jump scares and I don't like horror. I play Dead by Daylight constantly, so I might be a liar. But the biggest things, the things that annoy me most in that game, there's certain characters in that game that when you're playing against them, their whole thing is stealth and they sneak up on you. And so like if you're playing the opposite side, you're looking around and then all of a sudden out of nowhere there's Michael Myers, there's Ghostface.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm just like, where did you come from?
Yeah.
And that's what freaks me out more than like the weird loud noises in the game that pop out of nowhere. I've gotten used to those. I can't get used to the visual jump scare the way I can the sounds.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm a very visual person. So like, and in a lot of horror movies, and I've played some horror games as well. Like I've played Phasmophobia and that, which is a ghost hunting, like haunted house style investigation kind of horror game, where you're like tracking around these haunted houses and trying to identify what kind of ghost something is, and they pop out at you.
That sounds
and there's
fun.
It's really fun.
I'm very familiar with the game. I've played all of 5 minutes of it because I got scared playing the tutorial and spooked myself out.
I was playing it and I like slammed my laptop laptop like closed, and I was like, I can't do this. It's really fun, but I don't like it in horror movies so much when there's like an audio stinger that like makes that like dun dun kind of sound when like a scary thing pops out or whatever, because that doesn't happen in real life.
Right.
So for me,
sure.
It's like if there's a scary thing just like hovering in the background silently, or like passes in front of the camera or whatever, like is just outside of the periphery of your sensory whatever, that scares me.
Sure.
I wonder if some of the genesis of this too is like what makes scary things scary is the very practical survivalist like
the fight or flight,
the fear drive. Yeah,
our brains are like, with it being such a stressful world, sometimes our brains are already wired to be like jumpy.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that like horror just totally like gets in there and psychologically messes with that.
Well, and there's that whole like the thing that's just outside your range of vision or just behind you, so you're always looking over your shoulder type thing. That's that really ominous type of horror. That's what gets me weird, like the visual things, but also like that what's there that you don't see. Or that no one's talking about. Or
it activates, I think, the prey response or whatever. I mean, I know that's not technically what it's called, but because like we're humans, we're on the top of the food chain, we're this and that, but then we're not.
Well, I mean, if a vampire or Godzilla is coming for you,
exactly.
you are suddenly prey. There's no doubt about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and I think that's like what you said earlier, Killian, about the psychology of why things are scary or why people enjoy being scared or gravitate to scary media is interesting, I think, too. Do we have, like, what are our, like, origin stories with horror?
Oh, God. So I'll be honest, my parents were, like, really strict about the things that I watched to some capacity, and scary stuff was something that they were very like, no, you're not watching this stuff.
Okay.
So I always had to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And it was very exciting to me because it was something that we just didn't do at home. I'm an only child, so it was like I was kind of sheltered in that way. Little did they know that I became like one of the most, I love horror more than just about anything. Thanks, Mom and Dad. But like, I remember going to a friend's house for a sleepover, and her parents took us to Blockbuster, rest in peace.
Yes.
And we like went straight to the horror section, and I think we got like, oh gosh, I can't even remember which one it was, but an 80s horror movie. I'll have to think about it. But we watched it that night, and I was in awe.
Yeah.
I was absolutely in awe. I was terrified. I was in awe. I'm like, your parents are like the coolest people in the world for letting you do this. And then I had nightmares all night long.
Of course.
So,
naturally,
it was great. Yeah. So that's for me, for sure.
What about you? You've mentioned horror games predominantly. Where did that start?
When I was a kid, I didn't like scary things. I was a very easily scared kid, and then I would have nightmares. I was like plagued by nightmares as a kid. So my the first exposure to horror-based things was honestly in high school classes, and it was Hitchcock movies that I didn't find scary. Me watching The Birds as a 9th grader going, why do they look like potatoes? Like, I just thought the birds in this movie looked like potatoes with feathers stuck in them. That was why this is stuck in my brain since 9th grade. Who knows? And then we watched Psycho in my TV media issues class my senior year, and like I could see why it had been scary at the time, but it just wasn't scary to me. And lo and behold, it's just not the type of horror that scares me. That's fine. I have started getting into like some horror-ish books and things, but really where I gravitate to is in video games. Like I said, I did try a little bit of Phasmophobia. Then spooked myself out because I was playing alone in the dark on the tutorial level, dropped my flashlight, and I was like, I'm done. I'm out.
Yeah.
But Dead by Daylight, I started playing because other people I knew were like, no, it's really good. Yeah, and I was like, it's going to scare me too much. It's going to freak me out too much. you'll get used to the jump scares and things. You'll be okay. Mm-hmm. Lo and behold, they were correct. Like I said, I got used to the audio jump scares. But like for whatever reason, this has become my comfort video game. Like this is this is how I relax. Whereas things that people usually play to relax stress me out because of all of the task management of them.
Yeah. It's too much like real life, maybe.
Yeah. I spend enough time managing all of the tasks of everyday life.
Yeah. So remind me again, and you've explained this to me before. Remind me again how the premise of it.
So the main game with Dead by Daylight, it is a multiplayer game. It's an asymmetrical horror game. So you have one person playing the killer and 4 people playing the survivors.
Oh, yes. I've played other games like this. Okay.
And in each match, the killer is trying to hunt down the survivors, and the survivors are trying to fix generators to power exit gates and escape.
Right.
This game has a ridiculous amount of lore to it that matters very little to the actual gameplay, but I love it because I love lore. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love that this game that is not really a story game has so much story to it.
Yeah.
But they so they have a lot of original characters that are built into it, but then they also bring in really well-known movie characters and things like that. They actually just brought in D&D characters as D&D's Vecna is now a killer in Dead by Daylight sort of thing. That's going to date this because that's also vaguely old news at this point. But they have like Michael Myers, I mentioned earlier, Ghostface, Freddy.
Cool. Yeah.
They have Pyramid Head from
Silent Hill.
Thank you. I completely blanked. Which people have been like, no, you should play Silent Hill. No, you should play. There's Resident Evil in there too. And people are like, you should play those too. So you have context. And I'm just like,
I'm okay, thank you.
I'm good with my Dead by Daylight, thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so it's a very there's an end goal. Matches last a very specific amount of time. It's not an ongoing story sort of game. So it's very easy to pick up, put down, and everyone hears that I play it and goes, okay, so you like horror, and I'm like, I like Dead by Daylight.
Yeah.
But yeah, people get really weird about so who's your favorite of the? I play Survivor almost exclusively. People ask who's your favorite killer in the game, and I'm like, I don't play them.
Yeah.
I have ones that I like playing against and ones that I don't, but I'll play against any of them. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think with that, it's very much there is a task to accomplish, but there's an adrenaline thing to it.
Yeah.
And for weird reasons, that's calming.
Yeah. Well, it's there's a certain rise and fall to the action where it's just sort of okay, this is a situation that's condensed into one spot, and I'm sitting in my home. I'm not actually gonna blow up in a generator explosion or whatever. And so there's a start and an end and a whatever.
Yeah.
So it's a condensed adrenaline
dump,
and maybe.
There's some moments where it's really tense and you're trying to stealth around a map. And then there's others where you're in chase and it's quick thinking. So there's variances in that. And I think that's where some of the other things would get me. I don't like the extended tense feeling that you get from some versions of horror because it's really uncomfortable to sit in.
Yes.
And that's where I don't like it.
Sure.
But with that variation that you get from the matches and knowing that there's it's going to end. It's going to end relatively quickly. You can have some long drawn out matches, but they're not usually horrendously long.
Yeah.
Makes it bite-sized bits of horror for me.
Yeah. Well, I don't know why, but that kind of reminds me of the evolution of the zombie in some films, where zombies used to be slow moving, couldn't really do very much in terms of coming after you unless you tripped over a tree branch or something like that.
Yes.
And then they turned into these hyper fast, creepy, we're going to kill you in less than 2 seconds, you better run or get in a car or something, that kind of thing. So the movies that have these really fast-paced, terrifying scenes that are pretty much constant, that can be really hard to deal with when you're used to like the slow zombies that might just like reach out at you every once in a while.
Like, stumbling,
I have a broken leg and I'm just dragging myself along kind of thing, where you can escape it for a little bit and then get back to the story.
Exactly. A perfect example of those kind of zombies, by the way, of like the fast, scary zombies, is the film adaptation of The Girl with All the Gifts. Have either of you seen this?
No.
Okay, so the film adaptation of, and the gist of the plot is like, oh no, humanity has crumbled because there was a fungal plague that turned everyone into zombies. That's just the gist.
Why do they always blame it on the mushrooms?
Because
Last of Us too.
Well, because, and it's so funny because they root it in an actual fungal, like cordyceps,
which attacks
science
ants.
thing, which attacks ants, yes,
but not people.
Right, but they're like, it mutated, and now it attacks people, and then so and the thing is it's so like. And apparently, like in the lore of these particular like zombies, it's activated by sound and movement. So you have to be like really quiet, because you can walk through them quietly, like, and they'll just kind of stand there. But if you like sneeze or drop something, or like, I don't know, you're trying to live your life and something happens, then they like run, and they run like they're marathon running.
Yeah.
Horrifying.
It is, and there are some scenes in this movie where I'm like, I can't. It's so, because it's like a scene of calm and we're by a lake trying to survive, and then someone drops something and now there's zombies. And it's like, or the zombie horde is in this outdoor mall, like stagnant, just standing there. We have to move through the outdoor mall. Nobody sneeze or cough because we have to shuffle through the zombies. Like, it's,
oh my gosh,
it's not okay.
Yeah. Well, and The Last of Us, very similar.
Yeah.
The Last of Us started off as a game, also a video game.
Right.
And then they turned it into a show. And it's the same idea where like there's this fungal infection, this cordyceps that goes AWOL.
Yeah.
And there were scientists that had to like go on social media and explain to people, because people were legit freaking out that there was going to be a mushroom that was going to make us all crazy and do this thing. Yeah. He was like, that's not going to happen. It's not possible. I mean, we don't know what the future holds, but as of right now, that's not something that can happen. But you can tell this is something that legitimately freaked people out, where they were looking around outside like, oh my God, there's a mushroom.
Yeah, well, and I think that in particular is the root of what I think the best horror is doing, whether it's a game, whether it's a film, whether it's a book, is like that plausible possibility.
Yeah.
Where it's like, this couldn't happen. Could it? Like, and there is, because the world is so unknown and chaos exists at rampant speed always, it's like, it couldn't happen. But what if it did?
Well, and I love this idea of it being nature.
Yes.
Well, it's
Like
because it's the lack of control.
thing.
It's the lack of control.
We've done so much to try to control nature.
Yeah.
But when nature like fights back, how much can we really do?
And we know that the real outside natural world is brutal.
Oh,
and we have very little of that in our own lives.
We've simply insulated ourselves against it.
Yes, and I think that because there is this innate rooted, and this is not a complicated concept in any way or elevated at all, but the idea that we are all trying to survive, whether we are an amoeba or a human or a fungus or a bumblebee or whatever it is, everything is driven towards like the life drive. So it's trying to proliferate, it's trying to survive, whatever that means. So when nature is this like, I'm a fungus and I want everybody to be a fungus too. Like that is a real thing that happens in nature. Like, and nature is brutal and wild and crazy and complex. And so it is very much like, okay, I guess it could happen. I mean, and it's just sort of like, it's trying to kill us all. No, it's trying to survive.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with you.
Totally.
Like it really,
it's not personal.
And that I think in addition makes you feel very small, because it's like, it's not even, I'm so insignificant. You're not even trying to, the fungus isn't even trying to kill me.
Yeah. Oh,
It's not personal,
it's
but
just
why is it
reproducing.
Yes, exactly. It challenges our personhood. It challenges our concept of who am I? Like, who am, I'm me. I'm this powerful. I can do the thing. I'm an adult. I'm capable. And I think horror reduces us to these victim things, which is of course what it's trying to do, but that's very awful.
Yeah.
You know?
And it really feeds into these sort of like psychological themes of things that are like, would be terrifying to anybody if it was a reality, right?
Yeah.
Sure. You know, because
that's why I don't like most horror, because like I very much in a lot of things will be like, I like to feel like I am in control of a situation. Feeling not in control of a situation is really, again, uncomfortable.
Sure.
Yeah.
And horror just points out how little control over things we actually have.
Yeah. Well, and what about like inanimate objects? I have to bring this up just because like Grady Hendrix is like popping into my head right now.
Okay.
So the author Grady Hendrix has written a variety of different books about
the one
different
that did
topics.
The IKEA book?
He did the
Horror
IKEA book,
Store,
which I
yes.
love.
Horror Store.
Absolutely love. First of all, that book is beautiful.
Is it?
And it's made just like an IKEA catalog. But I'm talking specifically about How to Sell a Haunted House, which is one of his newer books. And you know, it ties back to like the sort of like horror theme that has happened, you know, in the 80s. It was Chucky, you know, like these sort of inanimate things that come to life that just have a vendetta against all living things around them. And in that story in particular, it's a puppet. So what do we think about that? Is that stuff scary, or is it kind of...
It certainly can be.
I have a very deep-seated, I don't know where it started, I don't remember. I have a very deep-seated fear of dolls.
Okay.
Like,
I don't love them.
Profound. It's not a phobia. I do have other phobias, but that's not one of them. But I have a very, like, to the point that I was like, I can't. Look, I can't. And the older I got, the more intense it became. And so reading How to Sell a Haunted House, where there's a puppet, and it's not like a cute little hand puppet.
No,
it's like
it was a handmade puppet,
or like whatever. No, it's an anthropomorphic, small human, like marionette style puppet. And I'm like, this is the stuff of nightmares. It crawled up out of like the underworld.
Yes.
It's not okay.
No.
And I think,
and it also doesn't go away very easily either.
It keeps not, because it's not alive, so you can't, like, so there's this theory of it's just like, well, it's not alive, so you can't really kill it.
Yeah, like how do you get rid of it?
So it can't go away.
Yeah.
And it just is this insidious, like, I'm back kind of deal. And I can't with the anthropomorphic, like, and because I think it's the uncanny valley, right?
Yeah.
Where it's just like, it's human, but it's not human, and it's like it's sort of, and it has a face, but it doesn't make facial expressions.
Right.
So you can't interpret what it's this challenge of like, I can't read what this is because it's not human, but it looks human, and it's not.
It's bizarre because it's like an unrealistic thing. Like it's not even something that like in the world could happen or should happen or whatever the heck.
Yeah.
But somehow these authors and these people can come up with this thing. It's like my water bottle coming alive and just devouring us
that would
right
be my
now.
brain
Like,
melt. I'd be like, what? Yeah.
So
because that's the challenge of like, that can't happen.
Yeah.
Like,
and then you're accepting it.
Yeah. The worldview that we have is that this doesn't happen. Like, the dolls don't come alive. The water bottle stays there.
Yes.
Like,
we do not get eaten by a random inanimate thing.
Yeah. And I think too, but the one thing that gives me, I don't think I've ever mentioned this on the air. I hope not, because I don't want to keep telling the same story all over again. But I also have read How to Sell a Haunted House, and the premise of the book is this: a woman she goes back to, her parents have passed, and she goes to sell their house, and this evil puppet is in the house. And she has this older brother who's just kind of this like drifter kind of guy, and the thing that gives me such a warm fuzzy is that I have an older brother, and my older brother is a wonderful human, and we are very close in age. We've been very close growing up. And so when she's getting attacked by this puppet, and her brother like whips out a weapon and like blasts the puppet and is just like, okay, let's go to Denny's. Like I'm like, that's what my brother would do.
It's so great. It's great.
It is a very heartwarming moment of like, someone comes in and saves the day and is just like, well, that's messed up. Anyways, like.
There's so much chaos in that book. And there are very sweet moments
Yeah.
that are like that, because clearly she's going through a difficult time, like packing up your parents' house and getting rid of the stuff, and she's not always on the best terms with her brother and how they're handling the house and stuff like that. So these all sound like very mundane things.
Yes.
Only there's this puppet and dolls.
Ooh.
There are dolls in the house that are all kind of like
Awful.
being, it's great. Check it out if you like horror. I would highly recommend.
I would recommend it too. It's creepy, and I think too, like, part of it, you just said something interesting where it's just like, it's bad enough where you have, like, you've had this loss in your life, the logistics of, like, I have to sell this house, there's all the paperwork, I have to clean the whole house out, my sibling is being annoying, like, da-da-da. You know, all of these things, you're fighting over nonsense that really doesn't matter when you've, you know, lost somebody or you're dealing with something that's bigger than you. Added to this, then, is it's like, real life is profoundly difficult enough without puppets trying to kill you.
Yes.
And here we are. Mm-hmm. And I think that it's that, and then again, you can look into all the things of like, well, this is a symbol for the grief process, or this is representative of like whatever, this other concept. And I think that that's something that horror does, is that there's a lot of symbolic representation of like The Taking of Deborah Logan, for example, is a horror movie that talks about mental health or mental illness and how that can affect someone in a family and all of that. So that's representative of that, in addition to whatever the actual film is about. But that, I think, reminds us of these other things that we try not to think about.
Sure.
Well, that's even looking at your classic horror characters.
Yeah.
You look at vampires are very much a response to how we feel about death, and then how we feel about things not dying, like, you know, our world says they should. Same with, you get the same types of themes with Frankenstein. And I think that's the thing, is a lot of times horror is a way of processing through these things that we don't want to think about or we don't want to address.
Sure.
And in different ways.
The one thing that I will not get on a soapbox about Frankenstein, but the one thing that I can like share with the whole world about Frankenstein is there's like two sentences in Frankenstein that go completely forgotten about. And where Victor's not a doctor, by the way. He's not Dr. Frankenstein. He's just a student, okay? And so so his whole thesis is he's like, I'm going to make this creation that I can imbue life into and make this whole new species and whatever. And a new species will bless me as its creator and blah, 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 and won't that be interesting? But what Victor's ultimate goal is that Victor is not trying to create a new species. Victor is practicing on creating a new species so he can stop the process of death. It doesn't really have as much to do with being a god as it does, well, I guess it is kind of being a god, because you would be like, death stopped. And it's this 2-sentence notation that he's like, in time, I can learn how to stop death.
Yeah.
Because Victor has gone through a very significant loss in his life before he goes to school and starts building this guy in his shed. So it's that grief that he feels over this loss that propels this obsession.
Yeah.
And it's not this like, I'm like a megalomaniac that's going to create a new species. And yeah, it is. But it's really not about that.
It's suited by something else.
It taps into those sort of moral things where,
totally.
We all know we're not supposed to bring something back from the dead.
Yes, because it disrupts the natural order.
Or we all know that Grandma passed and she's still there and she's not running around the cemetery sucking people's blood. These are things that tap into those parts of us where we're like, well, that person shouldn't have done that.
Right.
Or what would make a person do that, et cetera, et cetera. These are kind of interesting topics, certainly, where's the moral line?
Yeah.
And Victor's just like, I am totally leaping over this thing,
who
and I'm
cares
just going to keep going and
yeah.
see what happens.
Exactly.
And then also you have that fable-ish sort of thing where you realize, oh yeah, this didn't really work out all that great for him either because he did the thing, so maybe you shouldn't do that at home.
Yes, The moral of horror: don't try this at home.
Don't do this at home. But you're exactly right, because he even says, he's like, if you can learn anything from my story, don't do this thing. Like, and it is that, because it does ultimately unleash this, and this is the whole concept of it unleashes this thing that we don't understand, that we're not powerful enough to take back, that we're not able to conceptualize or affect in any real way, because it's like, I didn't know what I was doing, and I thought that I did. And that's kind of like adulthood in a nutshell.
Adulthood in a nutshell.
Yeah, it's kind of funny, the things that scare you when you're a child are like the boogeyman, and then when you're an adult, you're like, oh no, larger things, like whether or not I'll be eaten by mushrooms today.
Or ever.
Or my neighbor creates like a human out of, prison inmate parts, and it comes and kills me.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
Exactly.
All right.
So I don't know. We could go on and on and on. I wish we could.
I think we might. We probably we'll have a few more episodes about this.
I feel like I need to actually explore horror a bit more, because maybe in my 30s I am better equipped to handle it, and my all-encompassing I don't like this is a little bit heavy-handed.
We can start you out slow.
Homework. We'll give you homework.
Yeah,
It'll be great.
Yes.
Oh boy.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody, and we will see you next time. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Distracted Librarians.
If you have any questions or suggestions, feel free to reach out to us at distracted@btpl.org.
Until then, keep those pages turning and those screens lighting up.
We'll catch you in the next episode.